Welcome to Pitch in the Zone, a weekly gathering of coaches that help one presenter with a 3-minute pitch. Our coaches include, like every week, Nathan Gold, Scotty Spurson, Michael Marchak, Rick Pollack, and Massimo Peroncelli. All of them have tremendous experience coaching and helping presenters putting their best foot forward with their important presentations. And our speaker today is, like last week, Vahid Kademi. Vahid gave a first investor pitch last week, and then we had one very short session, Nathan and I, together with Vahid, and we've invited him to come back this week for the next iteration before we are going to continue fine-tune that pitch a little bit more. So Vahid, welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you feeling today? Nervous? Excited?
I'm feeling very good.
All right. So Vahid, you are going to share slides, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so if you want to set up your slides, and like last week, Massimo will be running a countdown timer going from 3 minutes down to 0. And whenever you are ready, Vahid, with your slides, the floor is yours.
So you have my screen, right?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Vahid, the founder and CEO of Pyne, a clean tech company. A semi-truck, in average produce 40 times more emission than a regular car per year, which costs a lot to the fleet owner as well. At Pyne, we are working on a game changer technologies to transform that smoky truck into the green truck in 1 day. Right, only in 1 day. Magically, we not only reduce the pollution, we also improve the profit margin for the fleet owner with our technologies. Before establishing the Pyne, I have done a dual PhD in mechanical engineering and material science. Also, I have worked for several years in automotive and truck industries. At Pyne, we install a new exhaust and new filtration systems that controlled by AI. The fleet owner can enjoy our technology by saving the operating costs from the very first day in several ways. One, by reducing the fuel cost, and second, by reducing the maintenance and the oil change cost, as well as by extending the life of the engine. So far, we have developed several MVPs that works great, and also we are working to deliver a beta prototype for our first client. Up to now, we have 3 provisional patents filed, and also more are coming. And our business is considered to be a B2C business with a subscription model, with a focus on the medium to mega size fleet. Finally, I do believe that we together can keep our planet green and our sky blue forever if we want to. And at the end, I'm looking for investment to expand the office and team, as well as to perform some some field and also the other required tests. Thank you very much for your time. And in advance, I appreciate your comments.
Okay. Well, Vahid, good job. It's already quite an improvement from last week. And if we are going to continue in that pace, I think you'll be standing here with a really, really powerful pitch. So I'm not even going to make any comments right off the bat, but I'm going to immediately open the floor. And today I'm going to do that with Massimo. Massimo, what kind of feedback do you have for Vahid?
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations for the improvement because it was just a week, but we all have seen a lot of improvements. And I will just focus on the slides because that's more like my what I like to comment on. So first slide, way better than before. Maybe also put your logo somewhere because you spent quite some seconds in the first slide, and so if we immediately can see your name and your logo, it will be nicer. Second slide, I don't know if I heard it correctly. You said magically. So magically, to me, is not really like a, yeah, it's like what you're talking about magic. It's not really professional, just my opinion. And again, all this, I love the slides one by one, and I think you put everything that you need in a pitch, but it was kind of disconnected. It was more like, okay, this and this and this and this and this and this finally. So it was not really connected properly one section to the other. So maybe you should work on how to connect the different parts of your pitch. Two small details. In the fifth slide, you wrote 1 days to upgrade, which is of course 1 day to upgrade. And then you have a comma in between planet and green, which should not be there. And last but not least, the conclusion, of course, it can be improved, but I've seen you kind of didn't know what to say, which is, well, that should be your best part. Like, come on, come with me, help me transform the world in a greener, for our children, whatever, right? The most energy should be in the conclusion, but it was almost the other way around. So, but from last week, great improvement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Massimo. And as always, great feedback, especially when it comes for the final details on the slides, finding missing commas or commas that are too many. And this is invaluable. Absolutely great. Thank you so much, Massimo. Moving on to Scotty. Scotty, what kind of feedback do you have for our presenter today?
Vahid, yes, much improved, and you slowed your pace, which was great. So it's definitely easier to hear things. I think I'll be meeting with you also soon. There's some key vocabulary words that would be helpful for you to master where the major stress is, because English is a stress time language. And if we can't hear the key vocabulary words clearly, it's easier to get a little bit lost in the presentation. So continue to work on this good pace that you have, and also more variation in your voice, especially around the more important words. And when you go back and watch this video, you'll be able to start listening for it also, and with any other conversations that you have. But much improved, and the slides are much better. I heard some ums and in between things when you were thinking, and we all say it occasionally, which is fine. But when it becomes habitual within a short time, it can become a distraction. So it's better to say nothing, because then you offer the drama of what you're telling us, and it gives your audience time to actually intuit the data, because there's a lot of good data there that we need to understand before we can make a decision about investing. And as Massimo said, I think you can work a little bit more on the transitions, both in what you say through the transitions and in some of the leads into the slides. So, and specifically on the ask too, there needs to be something that's heartier there. So what are you going to do with what you're asking for? And more enthusiasm. So
Thank you.
That's it. And we heard a little bit more. Sorry, I'm jumping in with one more thing. We heard a little bit more about why you, right? You talked about your background, which was terrific, but I didn't hear any enthusiasm. Like, what was the spark, and what was the why? And it's why you, to me, is the most important thing to get at. That people have a lot of great ideas, but being able to execute on them is a whole different story. And that's where both investors and individuals are interested in seeing what that magic recipe is that's going to take this great idea to fruition. So.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Scotty. And I'm happy that you are happier with the why. And we are not quite there yet. Again, it's an iterative process and we are taking this step by step. But I think your points, as always, very, very well taken. Moving on, Rick, what kind of feedback do you have for Wahid today?
He very much improved over last week. The opening, I know you took our suggestion about starting with the truck, and I like the statistic of the 40 times more. And within that first minute, you're showing the problem, how dirty that truck is, the 40 times more than a car, and then transitioning fairly quickly within the first minute into within 1 day, you can solve that problem. And it was a game changer. I like that, 1 day and from the dirty to green. One thing that I didn't quite understand, and I know this is from last week as well, but you're talking about green and blue. And when I think of green, I think there's two meanings to green: green environmental and green in saving money. I didn't understand the blue until the very end where you said blue sky. So to me, it's more of a double green than a green and blue, but that's how I look at it. I don't know how other people would look at it as well, but the blue didn't catch me. Whereas when you said green, I thought of both environmentally green and green as in saving money. And I agree with the other comments. I like the thing about your background, but it could be more of a YU, but at least you put in your background there. You also put in how it worked fairly quickly, the progress, that you had the patents. So this was real. You actually showed something with the Ford F-150. So it made it real. It wasn't just a slideware or something. This is something we're trying to do. You've got the patents, you've got some of the money. So that's going to attract the investors saying, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He told us his background and he's already has some prototypes and he has some people investing in him already. So that's good. And I agree with the comments about, the ask should be a little stronger. One comment about the audio. I know, I think Nathan made a suggestion on your audio last week. I think it still needs to be improved, probably with an external microphone. To me, it just came out that you would shut off the gain control on it, and it just seemed a little too loud and a little bit distorted this time. So I think you can probably get an external microphone, work on that, and your audio will be a lot better in the long run. But very much improved. I like the flow on it now, and as you practice it, it'll become a lot smoother and a lot more enthusiastic about that as you practice it some more. But very nice job.
Thank you very much for the comment. Actually, I just bought the microphone, but when I just connected, it just because I just got last night, it doesn't like the sound just stop, so I just disconnected. But I have it right now.
Yeah, I'm sure you can get it figured out. And,
Yeah.
It's really a lot better. And once you get that external mic working, that should be great.
Thank you very much for the comments.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And moving on to Michael, who just left a comment in the chat window, Wahid, that you definitely need to check out. Michael, take it from here.
So Wahid, I like the transition of where you're going. What I'd love to see is you be able to tell the story about it. I mean, to be able to sit down and say, trucks belch out 40 times the amount of exhaust as cars do. They're dirty things, and everybody knows that. Nobody wants that. So at Pyne, we've created a technology that can be installed in as little as a day to transform all that. What we've done here is you can jump right into it just by getting that story piece out quickly, and that lets people then get into it more quickly, understanding what the technology is, because you told them right up front what it does. Yeah, I've been behind those trucks. I know they're horrible. That's from a consumer point of view. Now going back to your end client, listen, we're not going to be selling to consumers. They're going to be a big beneficiary of this all. But we are going to be selling this to fleet owners, because all that dirty smoke going out in the air is actually cash they're losing. So these are the type of things you can focus on as getting into there. When you get to that point of making the ask, though, at the end, it was kind of like trailing off, and we're going to need money for something. We really want to go in there and say, I need, and we're raising $5 million so we can build our R&D facilities and hire in the technologists to be able to support this, creating the next level of our MVPs are actually going to be beta testing in these fleet owners that we've got lined up, blah, blah, blah. Now it's very compelling to say, oh, you need money because you've got people who are ready to buy this thing or ready to go into it, instead of we need money to help continue to develop the technology, because I'm not sure what you need the money for at this point now. So understand that. I like the fact that you're coming in with I've got the patents to do this here. I would almost like to go with that whole humble brag a few layers deeper. Listen, I've been working on this for several years, and it took quite a few iterations to get through this. This isn't easy to do this. If it was, other people would. That's why I've created this. I've been working this fleet business for so long. I've really seen this issue, and it's taken me years to perfect this. But now with these patented pieces that we have in place now, we're ready to go after this market. That's why we need the money to be able to go and continue to develop or to build the next iteration or wherever your money is for. So getting that enthusiasm, like, hey, we're there. All I need is some more money to help get this into the hands of people who are going to be using it, and they're going to see the benefit. And then my last comment was, you mentioned this whole B2C thing as a subscription model, but you didn't cover I did have a little more coffee today, I guess. Part of the issues today is I'm not sure what B2C is when you're selling to a fleet owner. So a fleet owner, to me, is a business. So I'm doing business to business rather than business to consumer when I think of B2C. So if it is a subscription model to the B2B era, which is perfectly fine, I want to understand what that kind of looks like as an investor to see how are you managing that to build out that cash flow? Because, I mean, you don't have to go deep into it. The way we do this is we sell these things on a X basis, and we have financing to be able to do it, some part of the business model that shows that subscription piece to be helpful to an investor to understand how you're going to be doing this if you are building this out and you're not going to have these fleet owners buy, one, they're going to buy 50 of them. How are you going to finance it? How are you going to manage it in a subscription model? So anyway, some of those things, I love the idea. I'm really excited for you. Let me know how I can help you any more, because I really think this would be a very good pitch once you get it honed down to the right audiences.
I really do appreciate all your feedback and comments.
Thank you, Michael. So valuable, and it's either going to be next week or in very early January, where Vahid is going to come back with the third iteration, and I look forward to it. Just based on all of the feedback that I'm hearing here today is so tremendously valuable. I think you'll be able to nail this very, very soon, Vahid. Moving on, Jess, welcome back. Jess has been one of our early presenters at Pitch in the Zone many moons ago already, and she has been doing tremendously well just recently. One success after another. Jess, congratulations on that. And as I said, I always love to have you in our group here. What kind of feedback do you have for Vahid?
So I agree with a lot of what everyone else said. I think we've already covered most of the major points. I definitely think you working with Scotty is a good idea, because some of it was hard for me to understand. And the other thing, I wasn't here last week, and I know they told you to slow down, but this almost felt too slow to me. It was just not moving forward, right? And so I would kind of speed it up a little bit, add some passion. And if you can put it in more of a story format, so we can listen to different pieces and have you kind of build on what you said just before that, I would appreciate that. Also agreed with the B2C thing. I mean, I think you're definitely more of a B2B than a B2C. You lost me there. More information on the raise. I don't know what you're going to do with the funding. And I also made a note. You said you have a customer already. Is that right?
Yes.
So I would like to hear more about that. Not just we have a customer, here's the prototype, move on, right? Like, that's amazing that you have a customer. That's hard. I learned that myself. So tell me more about that. And then just, again, get more excited, because, this is a hugely important mission, and we should feel that you're excited about it, and again, able to pull it off. So that's it on my end.
Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And Massimo just made a comment about that you came in today, you came in very short. You still had about the 25 seconds to spare. So this is great. And if you take Jess's suggestion of speeding up just a little bit, and I know it starts to sound a little bit like Goldilocks, you know, it's too slow, too fast. Where is the right middle ground? But you will find it. And if you do find it, you're going to shave off another 5 to 10 seconds easily. So there is room for stories. And I look forward next week to start to explore a little bit what we can do, what kind of stories that we can find that have a deeper emotional impact, while at the same time exciting the audience that you are really up to something and you are going to change the world for the transportation industry. Nathan, what kind of feedback do you have for Vahid?
Thank you. Thanks for coming back, Vahid. It's really great to see you again in front of all these wonderful faces, because, you know, we get a little too familiar with what you're doing, and having that next level of people take a look at what you're doing is very, very helpful. Pretty much everything has been said, with the exception of a couple things I'll put on the table. One is, I feel like you need an opening slide. Instead of starting with the truck, your opening line kind of lost its impact in my mind because you showed us the truck too soon. So maybe an opening slide with your logo and whatever you want to say on that, and then click, would probably bring more impact to the smokestacks showing out of that truck. You need a stronger close, but we can work on that one. I think that was probably already mentioned. And then your as Scotty said, your is very interesting. I only know one other person in the world that like with your mouth closed and and that's no different than a linguistic disfluency of an and so and all right or like. So try to remove that sound. You can close your mouth, but don't make that sound, and it will be a pause and it will create more impact. Okay? It's a habit. You can break it. I know you can break it. Scotty, you know who I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. There's a person we know that uses probably 5 times a minute, and it's no different than an I look forward to seeing your next level of improvement. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. And Vahid, any comments about today's feedback?
As always, I really appreciate all your valuable feedbacks and the comments. You are great coaches. I think I'm very lucky to have all of you.
Excellent, excellent. So I look forward to our next session. Scotty will be joining us then as well. And the one thing that I forgot to mention the last time, if you can, try to find a cork, a wine cork, and bring that with you next Tuesday when we meet. And if you are not a big wine drinker, just stop by any restaurant and they will be gladly giving you a wine cork. I have an exercise for you that will help, together with Scotty's feedback and Scotty's training on the language side, that will make you a little bit more articulate than we've been hearing so far. And with that, we've gotten to the end of today's session. Thanks again to all of the coaches that join us every week, providing valuable feedback to our presenters, our guests. Jess, thanks again for coming back, and we shall see each other next week. In the meantime, enjoy a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. See you next week. Bye-bye.